I get a lot of questions about finances and how couples should handle finances in marriage, but because there's so many nuances from income to debt to money management to goals to child support to previous debt coming into marriage, it makes it tough to really tackle this issue in a 7-minute video. But with the rise of second marriages and blended families, I see a lot of couples struggling with when they get married, should they combine accounts or keep them separate in the marriage? I have a few thoughts on that, and that's what we'll tackle today on Relation Shots. Welcome to Relation Shots. My name is Eric Wooten. If this is your first time stopping by, welcome to the place to get practical relationship advice that actually works in your relationship. If you've not already done so, go ahead and click the subscribe button and the bell notification so you don't miss upcoming videos. Now, I know you don't want to, but it's time we talk finances, and don't push stop yet. I promise this is going to help, not hurt you. See, more and more I'm seeing couples struggle with this question of, should we have one account, a joint account, join our finances, or should we keep them separate? And this is especially prominent in couples where it's the second or third marriage, where they're blending families and they wonder about this. So before we jump in, let me say this. If you're dating, I don't think you should combine finances, households, cars, or anything else for that matter when one or both of you has not decided they want to actually make a lifelong marriage commitment to one another. But if you're married or headed toward marriage, then this video really is for you. I want to give you 5 reasons that I believe that you should combine your finances into one account rather than keeping them in 2 separate accounts. Before I give you those 5 things, let me just say this. I think that if you're married, both spouses should have some working knowledge of finances. You should, at least the big areas. You should know some income, what you have coming into the household, your job stuff, whether it's investments, rental properties, whatever. You should both have some idea of what's coming in. And then you should both have some idea of the biggest areas of expenses, like a mortgage, car payments, insurance, maybe investment, savings, insurance, that kind of stuff. I think you both need to have some working knowledge of that. I'm seeing more and more couples where one spouse has no clue about anything financially, whether it's because they don't care or because the other spouse is not giving them access to this information. That's irrelevant. I think you both need to have some working knowledge of it. And so if that's not you, I should just suggest starting maybe every other week or once a month budget meeting as a couple where you can just review so you're both on the same page. And if your spouse knows or controls all of it and is not letting you in on it, my question would be, why do they feel like they need to hide that from you? Do they not want accountability? Are they doing something shady? I want to know why they don't. Now, I know both spouses in most marriages don't handle it the same way, meaning one may pay the bills and handle the details, day-to-day finances, that kind of stuff. But I do think that both need to have a working knowledge. That's our foundation. That said, I want to give you 5 reasons I do believe that you should combine your finances and not keep them separate. Number 1, transparency builds intimacy. Now, the goal for your marriage is to grow and increase the intimacy in the marriage. And so in the area of finances, I think having open, honest, transparent conversations will draw you guys together as a couple. If one of you knows everything going on in the finances, the other is not in the know on what's going on in the finances, as we all do, in the absence of information or communication, we're going to begin to create our own narrative. And what that's going to do is that's going to cause suspicion and maybe mistrust in the relationship, which is going to fight against or hurt your intimacy as a couple. So talking about finances, both of you knowing what each other has, if you both have jobs, knowing what each other makes, knowing what you're spending your money on, and all those different intakes and outtakes of finances is actually going to grow your intimacy together, and the absence of that is going to hurt your intimacy because transparency builds intimacy. Reason number 2, I think you should combine your finances is because separateness breeds more separateness. Here's what I mean by that. If you guys are making separate decisions on finances and you're not really having financial discussions or talking about the decisions you're going to make, that's actually going to make it easier for you to make individual decisions in other areas of your relationship, because you've already gotten used to just doing what you want over here, not really having to have conversations, not really having to compromise in areas, but just doing what you want and them doing what they want with their money, and you guys sharing or paying some bills together. That's actually going to breed the same thing in all the other areas of your relationship, and you'll find yourself making individual decisions, not discussing things with one another, because it's just become normal to you, which is going to lead me to reason number 3. I think you should combine your finances together, is because it will actually decrease the me versus we mentality. So what happens with a lot of couples is they decide not to combine finances, and they say, you're going to take care of these bills and you're going to take care of these bills, and we'll each be responsible for our separate bills. What that actually does, though, is it creates kind of a me versus a we together mentality. I'm taking care of my bills, you're taking care of your bills. They're not really our bills. And what happens if one person either doesn't manage their money well, or there's an extenuating circumstance and they can't quite cover their bills? Now they're going to have to come to you and let you know, and then you're going to get frustrated because you're having to take away from what you had planned in order to help them in their bills, which are actually both your bills together if you're thinking about oneness in marriage. Our goal is to build and grow oneness in marriage. And having these separate my accounts, your accounts, me versus you, no we in the mix, you're actually hurting your oneness, and you're preventing what you're really shooting for, which is you guys coming together in every area. And so here's what's going to happen. You start having those discussions, and one person gets frustrated because you didn't handle your money well now, and now I have to come in and fill in for you, which means the next time that spouse is not going to come talk to you about their issue because they got criticized last time. They're going to solve their issue on their own without your help, which is not building the connection in marriage. On top of that, they're probably going to make some decisions you wouldn't like selling stuff, borrowing money, or taking out a loan to cover themselves because they don't want to come to you and ask you for help because you guys are separated in this area. So combining your finances will fight against a me versus you, and will begin to help you think of a we in the marriage and increase that oneness. Reason number 4 that I believe you should combine finances is it allows for accountability. It's hard to hold somebody accountable for something that you have no awareness of and don't know where they're at in those areas. And my hope would be, as a couple in marriage, you have some shared goals that you want to reach. Financial goals, family goals, future goals. And because of those goals, you actually need to hold each other accountable that you're both doing what you said you would do to work towards those goals. Well, if you don't have access or any knowledge of any of the stuff that they're doing with their finances, you can't hold them accountable for that stuff. And if they don't want any accountability, my question again is why? Are they hiding something? Do they not want you to see what they're actually doing? And so combining your finances allows you to, one, make decisions quicker towards your goals because it's a lot simpler, and it allows you to hold each other accountable for what you've already agreed upon on the front end. So I believe you should combine your finances because it allows for greater accountability. Reason number 5, I believe you should combine your finances in marriage, is that it eliminates income disparities. So with most couples, there's a disparity in the income that they are bringing into the household. Maybe both are working, but they don't earn the same amount of money. Maybe one's working outside the home, the other's staying home to manage the family and take care of things around the house. And so because of that, there exists a disparity between what they're both bringing in. And what happens is, if it's your income and my income, then we have a difference and there's a lack of equality there. And what we don't want, if we're trying to create a oneness in marriage, is one spouse that's flush with margin financially and another spouse that's struggling financially, and there becomes animosity between the two. One's having to ask the other for help, the other's getting bitter about the other one. But when your money is both of your money, not my money and your money, the equality is set there in the marriage and everything belongs to both of us. And so we've eliminated any disparity, either actual or perceived, that would fight against our desire to become one. So there's 5 reasons I believe you should combine finances. I know there's a lot of nuances to this. I know that people would talk about prenups and all these other things that I'd love to have discussions about. But in this video, I just wanted to give you 5 reasons I think that sharing and combining your incomes and your finances together will actually increase the oneness and intimacy in the marriage that you're seeking. I'd love to hear your thoughts about this, whether you agree or disagree, in the comments section below. And as always, if you thought this was helpful, consider sharing it with a friend or maybe your spouse. And I'll talk to you next time right here on Relationshots.